Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today we're going to work on another ornament. This is ornament number 2 of our 12 knotted ornaments of Christmas. So this was basically the design for the ornament 1, and I was just needing to kind of double check some stuff on here. This is the pattern from over on my website, akaawol.com. This is for 6 strings or 12 coming down. So, let's grab the paint tool. Let's get something simple just so I can count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there was 6 over here. This is how we did this one, which when I did it, I kind of was eyeballing it out as to size wise. I didn't realize how kind of awesome that turns out to be. So yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I have the pencil tool and I put it onto the block. I've changed the aspect ratio to almost 0. It's 0.04, so it is slightly off a bit. Whatever, that doesn't matter. And I changed the angle to 45 degrees, which gives me this cool box that will let me kind of wipe out everything above the point right there. So I used the color because I just kind of want to make sure I didn't make mistakes and go, too far, whatever. So, like we normally do, we will grab the rectangle tool, like if we're making a bracelet, and we grab the whole top half and we copy and paste it, and then we flip it. Yeah, we're going to do that again. So we can do this, and we're going to move this down here. Now, that gives us the shape that we had yesterday, like this. But today, our pattern is actually different, and it's a lot different. We're now going to flip this horizontally, and we are going to we're going to put that on a new layer. And the reason we're putting that on a new layer is we might have to come back and grab that shape again a little bit later on. But first, let's move this thing into place so it makes sense. Okay. So that is our, well, actually, you know what we'll do? We will duplicate the layer and then just leave it out. And then we'll go back down to this layer, merge it down. Cool. So we have an extra one in waiting in case we need it. So now let's go back to that pencil tool, grab up the white, and get rid of this down here. So this looks pretty weird already. Man, this thing gets complicated fast, guys. I kind of knew going into this was going to be a doozy, but like as I'm seeing what we're up against, it's like, oh dear, this is going to be something. All right. So we're going to copy this now. Control C, Control V. And we're going to put that to a new layer. And we are going to flip it. Yes. And then we are going to rotate it. Is it 45? No, it's 90. $90, yes. Okay, now it's already on a new layer, so I should be able to make it a bit more. Wait, that's spacing. That's not what I want. I want opacity. There we go. So now I can line these two things up perfectly with it being a little bit transparent. Odd, some of it kind of sticks over and other parts don't. It's like it got twisted weird, but that's okay. Now we go to image and we fit the canvas to layers. So now we have this over here. We're going to put that opacity back up to 100%, and we're going to use it's the fuzzy select tool, which basically is like a magic wand that lets you grab everything, and we're going to delete the background so that way the bottom under here shows up. And then we can layer, we can merge that down so this is all one image again, and we can paint all this in. That was complicated, but we now have these things facing in the other directions. I should be able to paste again, and we still have that same thing that we had. So now we're going to bring that up here. We're going to do that opacity trick again. And we're going to wiggle this into place like that. First, we'll put it to a new layer and bring its opacity all the way back up again. Fuzzy select, delete all of that. And again, we are going to image to fit the canvas of the layers. So now we're way up here. Control A. Wow. So this is kind of escalating kind of quickly here, guys. But we're right on the mark. We're exactly where we're supposed to be. So let's paste this thing again. And we flip it. And then we rotate it 90 degrees. You see a pattern happening here, right? We're going to make it transparent-ish. I need to put that to a new layer. Line all this up. Bring the opacity back. Fuzzy select, grab all this, delete. And then image and fit the canvas to the layers. So now we're gotten much bigger. Now, when I was sort of drawing this up myself, I put the other pieces that we're going to add off to this side. So that way this was the middle. But that really, at this point, with the way we're drawing, that doesn't matter. Hang on, let me merge that layer down. Control A. There we go. So what I wasn't sure, and why we saved that extra little piece, is will the ends be in the right direction? And judging by this, yes, they are absolutely going to be in the right direction. I do no longer have to worry. So this layer up here and this layer here aren't attached. Layer merge down. There we go. So now I can paint these things in. Cool. All right, so 2 more things to paste in. Let's go. Here's our first one. This is going to go up here. First, we put it to a new layer. We need to put it on a new layer in order to wipe out the white that's around it. There's the method to the madness, in case you're wondering why I'm doing that. So once it's on a new layer, I can remove essentially what is its background. And so now just kind of basically making sure all that matches up real nice. It's not bad. It's a little bit weird. See, but then up here, it's a gap. All right. There we go. Oh, and then if you try to do that wipeout thing with the opacity, that gets weird too. So you basically have to bring the opacity back. And before we do all this, we need to fit the canvas to the layers so that way we have all this up here as well. So then we can do the fuzzy tool and we can delete, get rid of all of that. Then we can take that layer and merge it down. So now it's flat with everything else. That way when we hit Control A, everything is selected and that allows us to paint out there. So if you haven't figured out what's going on with this pattern yet, this is essentially this, right? This one little elbow down at the bottom. You can see that, right? This is the second one, and we're about to put in our third one. By doing it all like this, right? We showed in the first time how you can make that elbow, right? So now we're just going to kind of go back and forth with it so we have one solid piece. So when we cut our strings, instead of cutting little tiny ones and putting it all together, we're going to cut long strings. We're going to make this zigzag piece, and then it's minimal sewing, and you end up with kind of basically the same ornament, with just some of the parts are actually already attached. So, all right. So here is this thing. We need to flip it and rotate it. And then to a new layer. Come up here. Whoops. Trying to go the other direction. There we go. And bring that back. Image, fit, fuzzy tool, delete, layer, merge, and paint all of that. So there we go. I'm going to kind of make this a little bit smaller by grabbing from around there. Crop to selection. So there we have it. Let's take this whole thing What did it do? Whoa. I tried to put a minus sign in there because I was trying to rotate it instead of the one way. Let's try that again, but just use the slider bar. Why did that not? Oh, there it goes. Like, wait, it didn't work. It did. All right, so now let's go back and fit the canvas to the layers. And then we can just select what we need. Oh, wait, something's floating. Layer anchor. There we go. Now we can grab it this way. This will make a whole lot more sense for somebody trying to figure this out, I think. Um, Wait. Let's copy this and put this into a new thing and see what that looks like compared to the other. Because this is our template. We have to work out a pattern from this versus Control Z, Control Z, from there. Okay, so I'm going to say both versions just in case I don't know which is the better way of doing it. But this is essentially our template. At this point, we can color this in any which way we want, but this is essentially how the bracelet works. It's a 12-string bracelet. We could make it a pattern like this. We can make it literally any 12-string thing. Mind you, we might want to try to not have one color get used a whole lot more than another, because that might be a problem considering its length. So yeah, and this is our center point. So when we make it, we're basically going to go off of this center point here and go this way and then go this way. So there you go. That is our template for today. And yeah, tomorrow I'm not sure if I'm filling it in with the pattern or if I'm actually going to just show you what I make out of it. We'll have to decide on that later on, but this is enough to kind of maybe get you guys started and hopefully you enjoy it. So before I go, I want to thank my Patreon supporters as well as my YouTube members for making these tutorials possible. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I will be back tomorrow with more stuff. Have no idea what we're doing yet, but it'll be fun. So thank you very much for hanging out with me. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.